The EV bubble has burst. You heard it here first. It's official. Well, it's not official, but it's official if I'm announcing it. I'm officially announcing the EV bubble has burst, and they just haven't told us yet. And here's why. Since they launched this election lot, I've been waiting, watching, listening, thinking any minute now someone's going to announce something related to cars and related to all the crap. And nobody has, naturally. I mean, the Reform Party have. They've said they'll scrap the zero emissions vehicle mandate. And then when it came to asking that question about the zero emission vehicle mandate, this is the thing where you've got to sell a certain percentage of milk floats every year. This year, 24%, of which all manufacturers are dwindling round about 17, 18%. They're nowhere close. And they're about to get their asses fined off if they don't get there by the end of the year. Bear that in mind. This will come in very handy, that piece of information. And now the major two parties have said they're going to have it reviewed. They're going to review it. They might look at it, they might not. They're completely non-committal on the subject, which means they don't really know what. Well, they know what they're told to do. What they're told to do is hammer that into the ground and make sure that everybody stays in their 15-minute cities. Forget that. That ain't working no more. Same as every other thing that they've tried to push through onto people. Eventually people start pushing back. And that's exactly what happened in Europe last week. And now everyone's shitting themselves. Because apparently, if you don't want to drive a milk float, you're basically Hitler. That's what it boils down to now. You don't want to drive a milk float, you're far right. You don't want 1 million blokes landing on your shores in a dinghy, far right. You disagree with the government, far right. So basically, 99% of the population are goose-stepping Nazis now. So that's something to look forward to, isn't it? Anyway, I digress. So the zero emission vehicle mandate, which states that everything must be 24% this year, rising to 80% by 2030. Which Sunak then knocked back and then probably called an election, which means he'll never have to implicate it anyway. So, here's my thinking. I am currently, as you can see, in a brand new van. This is a Fiat Scudo, but it could be a Vauxhall Vivaro, or it could be a Toyota ProAce, it could be a Citroen Dispatch, it could be a Peugeot Expert. Because also, I'm never going to do another review of one of these vans ever again, because they're all the same. They're all made by the Stellantis group in the same factory, and they just have different badges on them. They don't make an effort anymore to customise them in any way, shape or form. This is exactly the same as every other milk float van I've ever reviewed, and except this ain't a milk float. This is a diesel. And here's the thing. This is going to one of the biggest vehicle rental companies in Britain. I won't say which one for obvious reasons, but it is. And it's not just one, it's thousands of them. They are replacing their entire fleet of medium-sized vans, and they are replacing them. They always replace them every 3 years or 5 years, depending on the cycle. Depends how often they replace their vans. So this is for at least 3 years anyway, probably longer. Every single van that they are replacing with a diesel van. Not a milk float, not a hybrid. I don't even think hybrid vans exist, to be honest. But they're replacing them with diesel. And Fiat, or whatever, doesn't matter which manufacturer, it's all the same one really, but they are supplying them. Now that means two things. One, milk float vans are shit, who knew? Because no hire companies will have them. Oh, it's not just this hire company, by the way. Another major hire company, which rhymes with Tenterprise, are also replacing their entire fleet with diesel. So, if everyone's replacing their vans with diesel vans, nope. Nobody's buying any milk floats at all. So I was completely distracted then. An MX-5 has just gone past me with one of those popcorn exhausts on. and I thought I was being shot at by snipers. I hope that comes out in the video. Everyone's replacing them with diesel, which says one thing. First thing, electric vans are shit. We already knew that. Us enlightened people, we already knew that. I brought it to the masses by showing you quite how bad they were, and every single bloke that I've spoken to, including my fan in who works for a certain gas company who I met in a car park the other day. Hello, mate. He had one. He sent it back. But here's the other thing, and this is where I think the conspiracy theorists can come in. And I don't know why I call it a conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's just a theory based on politics, the world, and shit vans. So it's not a conspiracy theory. Let's scrap that. It's just a theory. And here's my theory. And I like theories. I had a theory that Donald Trump would get elected. I had a theory that Brexit would happen. I had a theory that Boris Johnson would be the next Prime Minister. And I gambled on all of them and I won on all of them. So I like a theory. Here's my theory. They already know that the EV experiment has failed. They already know they're never going to fulfill their criteria. And they already know that the zero emission vehicle mandate has got to be scrapped. Because it's not working. People aren't buying them, and there's no way they can get round it. So they have a choice, and the choice is they either go at the end of the year to every single car manufacturer and go, you owe me 20 billion quid, and this happening right across Europe, but in the UK alone, we're going to need a couple billion off you, couple billion off you, couple billion off you. Wrecks the car manufacturers, wrecks the industry, wrecks the jobs, puts the price of cars and vans through the roof because nobody will be making them, and we'll have to get them all in from abroad, and then everyone will be out of a job and inflation, etc, etc, etc. Massive scandal. No new government wants that, and no new government will have that. So I think the plan is already in place, because let's face it, Sunak and Starmer are the same fucking thing. There's no difference between them. Well, slight difference, but you know, for the purposes of equal opportunities, no difference. They're the same. They're going to have the same policies. They're going to dress it up as something else. They're both members of the WEF. They're both posh boys. They're both billionaires. They couldn't give a shit about the poor people. And they're doing as they're told. So, doesn't matter who gets in, the zero emission vehicle mandate will be scrapped, or at least renamed, rebranded, and redesigned to make it achievable, because it won't work. And they already know that. And this is how I think they already know that. There is no way on earth that Fiat will be supplying thousands of diesel vans to all the hire companies all over Britain if they thought they were going to suffer a penalty for it at the end of the year. Because this is business. This is only about money, nothing else. They're not going to say, oh yeah, I tell you what, you can have they 3,000 diesel vans. Don't you worry, at the end of the year, we'll pick up the fine. That ain't happening. Not in a million years. So they already know that that fine ain't coming. They already know that they're going to get away with it. Otherwise, they'd be pushing the electric vans and saying, sorry, the only vans you can have are electric, because otherwise we're up shit street. So they ain't up shit street. They're fine, and they know they're fine, and they know they're going to get away with it. And this is a done deal behind closed doors. And soon as you get in, after the election, whoever gets in, I mean, let's face it, it's probably going to be him, innit? Starmer. It's not going to be Sunak, that's for sure. We know it's not going to be him. So it's probably going to be Starmer, unless by some weird twist of fate, we end up with some sort of coalition government that involves Starmer, Farage, the Green Bird, probably a little bit of SNP sprinkled. Who knows? So more than likely we're going to get Starmer, and he's going to have to do that, and he don't care. Doesn't matter to him. He's just doing what he's told anyway. So I reckon by September, early October. Well, no, it's not going to be till then, is it? Because as soon as they get elected, they're going to fuck off on holiday straight away. Literally, it'll be, well done, mate. You got a job. Oh, by the way, have 10 weeks off. I think Parliament gets dissolved the week after, and they don't come back till mid-September. So by mid-October, there you go, mid-October. Let's go for October half term. Mark II Escort here in lime green. Oh, I wish I could. I haven't got my spinny bracket, so I can't spin it round. Oh, what a beauty. RS 2002. And he's on the motorway driving it. Oh, that's class. By mid-October, the
Speed camera ahead
is gone. End of that. Bin it, rename it, rebrand it, call it something else, and change all the targets. You heard it here first. The EV bubble has burst. Oh, you heard it here first. The EV bubble has burst. And we're going to see a revolution in cars again, because the milk float experiment has failed. And I'd like to think I played a part in that, because whenever I started this 18, 19 months ago, and I coined the phrase, future my arse, turns out I was right again. Cheers, everybody.